Get going. My name is Simon and I'm a jazz musician, and I just thought I'd be out walking the dogs and just talk about music. I'm not sure if anybody is going to join in on my live stream, but if you do, I'd love to hear from you. I had a big night on YouTube last night. I got a lot of subscribers, so people that have just joined my channel, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'm just out here walking the dogs, or they're walking me. It's a beautiful day here in Victoria, BC. And I thought, for a bit of fun, I'll just stream this. And if you're watching the replay, guys, welcome to my channel, ProJazzTips. And I'm just out here walking the beautiful streets of Victoria, BC. And it's gorgeous out. And a little bit about myself, I'm just very casually wandering around the streets. And what's interesting is I love listening to the sounds of the birds. The songbirds. Unfortunately, this time of the year in Canada, you don't get a lot of the songbirds. A lot of them, well, you do. You get the little chickadees and the jenkos. They sort of stick around, but a lot of the migratory birds sort of head south. And there's something to be said for the songbirds, what we can learn from them musically. And about last night, I noticed that there were a lot of people that have subscribed to my channel that are trumpet players or interested in trumpet hacks. Because let's face it, it's a very unforgiving instrument, and we're all out here I think we're out there, out in the world to help each other, because trumpet is probably one of the hardest instruments. I put it up there, to be honest, with clarinet. I do play a bit of clarinet as well, and clarinet is difficult. It's all about the pinky finger. It's not the pinky, your index finger, playing the A to the B over the break. And I've got to say, guys, I've been a professional jazz musician for about 35 years, and I'm thrilled to be here because, I've done a lot of touring. I lived in Australia. You can probably tell by my accent. I'm sorry about the noise of traffic going by, and wind. Hopefully, there's not too much wind. But what's really interesting is when you do it for as long as I have, you can lose that spark. There is that, but there's also the other reality of, like, when you do it for long enough, you certainly develop some tricks of the trade, if you will, as you venture along the path. And lots of fun stories of touring. Oh my gosh! One of the funniest things I remember is we were playing, my jazz band from Melbourne, Australia. We were playing at a Frühstücken which is a big beer garden festival in Germany along the Rhine River there, and we were the support act for Monty Sunshine. And one thing I remember about Monty, very, very smart, and I think a lot of us musos can take a leaf out of his bag or his book. So what Monty would do, he would start his, hello, let me get past you here, my dog's a little terrorist. There you go, calm down, Lily. He would start his encore about 20 minutes before the set was scheduled to end. So I think they played from like 2 till 4 p.m. with a break in the middle, or 1 till 4. And at 3:40 or 20 to 4, he would take a break. Oh, sorry, he would call his last tune and say basically that he was done. So the encore would last exactly 20 minutes, and come 4 o'clock, he would be finished. Whereas a lot of us, and I've been guilty of this, we would start our encore, if the crowd went wild, at 4 o'clock. And I once got in a little bit of trouble at the Sacramento Jazz Festival, quite deservedly so, to be honest, by the next band. He wasn't overly happy that we played over. So just bear that in mind, guys. If you're performing and you're doing a concert and there's back-to-back bands, lots of you to one after the other, following each other, it's good to start thinking about your last tune and starting it starting at like 10 minutes before, I guess, the curtain time, or the end of the set, the end of the set. But then if you get an encore, you've still possibly got 5 minutes. Do you know what I mean? So you're not starting your encore when the next band is scheduled to be on. So that's a bit of fun. And yeah, so lots of fun stories. And playing different instruments has always been a fascination of mine. My hero, Aid Monsborough, great sax player in Australia, he was actually presented the Grafton saxophone when Grafton, that's a company in England, that was the white plastic saxophone. And there's some great footage and photos of Charlie Parker. He was presented with one. Oh, we've got somebody viewing. G'day, how you going? So glad you're here, mate, or whoever you are in the world. I'm Simon. I'm just out walking the dogs here. And thank you for recently subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate it. So about Aid Monsborough. So back in the early 1950s, Grafton, the English saxophone company, the white plastic sax, they issued 4 saxophones for promotional purposes. One was given to Johnny Dankworth, famous English alto player who was married to Cleo Lane. One was given to Benny Carter, one was given to Charlie Parker, and one was given to Aid Monsborough. And Aid was always a hero because he basically played every instrument. And when he lost his teeth into his sort of late 80s and could no longer play saxophone and clarinet, he would actually play, he played violin. So Aid really was an inspiration, and he was always about playing lots of horns. And so was my other hero, a good friend of mine from Sydney, Australia, who was an expat American, Tom Baker, who sadly died very, very, very young. But Tom was equally comfortable on the saxophone as he was the trumpet. And later on in his life, he mastered the trombone as well. Anyway, my point is, a lot of purists will say to you, and guys, particularly if you're starting out and somebody says, oh yeah, you're a trumpet player, so therefore stick to the trumpet. You know what? I disagree with that. You might, to get through school, you might want to major in one horn, but if you decide to take it a bit further, explore and play many instruments. A lot of people don't. A lot of purists say, oh, if you're going to be a trumpet player, you've got to be a trumpet player. I think that same thing happens with bass players. Bass players that have to make the decision of, like, am I going to be a 2/5 jazz player? Am I going to be a bluegrass player, or am I going to be a classical player? And there's a lot of stereotypes, and where people say you've got to choose between classical and jazz, or jazz. And I will say that I made a choice that I wanted to be more like Louis Armstrong than Maurice Andre. Maurice Andre is one of the most extraordinary trumpet players I've ever heard in my life. He played all that wonderful classical stuff of Hummel and Haydn. But I do not aspire to play like that. I'm more into jazz and Louis Armstrong. Anyway, my point is, don't be afraid to try different horns. It's fun. It's really, really fun. And I will tell you a little anecdote that there was a wonderful saxophonist that I heard in Melbourne, Australia, about 25 years ago, 30 years ago. And as a kid, he met Charlie Parker. And what's interesting, as you know, Charlie Parker was probably, for what he did, the greatest alto saxophonist of all time. He between Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie, they revolutionised the whole bebop movement. And but anyway, what's interesting is that Charlie Parker was he was speaking to this kid, and of course that's the old cliche. Well, Mr. Parker, do you have any advice for me as a young musician? And he said, yes, learn clarinet first. So I totally get that. And if you're a budding saxophonist and you're wanting to major in playing reeds, I would suggest you learn clarinet, because there's a couple of main reasons why it's really beneficial to learn clarinet before saxophone. Firstly, saxophone is much easier than clarinet because all you've got to do is push the buttons down. You do not have to close the holes like you do on the clarinet. And second, excuse me, secondly, saxophone is exactly the same fingering. I got two people. G'day, how you going? Please put a comment here. Let's get the chat going. We're just talking music. I'm just out here walking the dogs on this beautiful, brisk winter morning here in beautiful Victoria, BC. Excuse me, I was going to blow my nose. And I just wanted to kind of introduce myself to you and just talk and say g'day. If you've recently just subscribed to my channel, I really appreciate it. So thank you very much. But back to the question, or what I was talking about with the whole thing with clarinet. So, well, the other thing about the saxophone is the fingering. Hello, digital analog ham. G'day, Chris. How you going, mate? Good to see you, buddy. Oh, this is awesome. Welcome to my channel, mate. Fantastic, Chris. Need to get some viewing hours up. I appreciate you being here, buddy. And look at this gorgeous place. So this is my regular walking route, Chris. Gorgeous. This is through Uplands, the neighbourhood of Uplands, which was basically it's a subdivision of Victoria, eastern suburbs of Victoria, that some early Albertans, obviously, that had a lot of money came here and established here in Uplands. And one of the covenants here is that all the blocks of land are at least 10, I think more like 20,000 square feet. So huge blocks of land, and I don't think they can be subdivided. But anyway, back to the whole thing I was talking about with saxophone. So both registers, both octaves of the saxophone are a mirror image of themselves. Okay, so that's pretty easy. Whereas clarinet, so anybody that's a clarinet player that's watching the replay of this, you'll know exactly what I'm saying. The hardest challenge for a sax player to play clarinet is if they learn on saxophone, that is a C. And as you know, on the clarinet, if you play the open finger, or let's say you play 3 fingers down in the bottom register, that's a, what is that? Oh, gee, I've got to think here. 3 fingers down, hang on, F, E, D, C. So it's a C in the bottom register, a G in the middle register, and if you squeal up the top, I think it's about a high G or A, but different fingerings for each register. So that's really one of the big challenges about clarinet. But what's good about the clarinet is it really teaches you, because I tend to play badly with flat fingers because I'm just lazy, whereas a clarinet player, you have to close the holes, if that makes sense. So learning the correct technique on clarinet is a really good crossover to the saxophone. So that's a consideration. Another consideration, guys, if you get into the world of brass, good luck. That's all I can say. What's that famous quote by Dizzy Gillespie? Dizzy Gillespie, you know, wonderful bebop trumpet player, said something like, some days I come out and the trumpet kicks my butt. Other days I go out there and I kick its butt, but inevitably it's going to win. So, i.e., the trumpet it's a challenging horn. So one of the bits of advice I could give you is I actually play a bit of trombone as well. Is learn trumpet first. If you're going to be a trombone player, learn trumpet first. If you want to double, the only issue with that is it's harder to read bass clef as you get sort of further entrenched in the trumpet. But what's easier, it's much easier for trumpet players to double on trombone than it is for trombone players to double on trumpet. As crazy as that sounds, I think it's just the fact that, you know, if you're playing trombone, your lips are very relaxed and you don't have as much back pressure, right? Because the trumpet's a pretty small little column of air that you have to force that wind through. So learn the trumpet first before trombone. And I'm trying to get some ideas here, guys, of directions for this channel. So I really encourage anybody that watches this in the replay, please leave some comments below, because I'm sort of like, I'm bamboozled by the response that I received last night with subscribers, and I just, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you very much. And it's going to be a fun journey, guys, and I really want to help and make this a collaboration where we can work together and learn. Because I've got to admit, guys, I am a lazy musician, and this has actually given me some real wind in my sails to actually get my horns out and practice. And I've got a bunch of cool techniques that I want to show you on both the saxophone and the trumpet. And my daughter's best friend is a alto saxophonist, and she's a good little player, and she wants to learn how to improvise. And I've got I get that a lot. People say, "Oh, can you teach me? I really want to learn how to improvise." Well, the thing about improvisation, I mean, it's hard. I can't just say, "Oh, do this, do that," and you're going to be able to do it, right? Because I have a bit of an issue with some of the universities that teach you to quote unquote play jazz. I really think jazz comes from the heart, and there are a lot of players that they pump through college and they say, right, I want you to play like John Coltrane. And let's face it, Coltrane was a giant, if you like that kind of music. But I think the epitome of music is when you've got your own voice and you sound like yourself. So I've got some cool exercises I want to share with you on the saxophone that are really good for sitting under the fingers and give you a real chance to learn how to improvise. Just harmonically, being able to hear, because one of the common flaws that I hear with musicians that cannot improvise is, let's say we're in the key of C, and one of the most dangerous notes on the instrument is when you play the fourth. So if you're in the key of C, and unless of course it is a subdominant or a 4 chord, which is in this case an F. But if it's not, hearing somebody play an F over a C chord in the wrong hands is just diabolical. So it's knowing how to hear that and going, ooh, that sounds wrong. So this exercise that I'll share with you will hopefully really help for learning the 101s of how to improvise. And also I've got this cool thing I'll share with you about how you can sit in front of the TV, obviously when no one's home because it'll drive them mad. You just sit there for hours and you can just play this one exercise chromatically with your left hand, because music is all about left hand, right? Whether you're unless of course you're a trumpet player and right-handed, but if you're a drummer, it's all about left hand. It's all about left hand. And Buddy Rich was always about that, right? So you can always tell a right-hand drummer because they're weaker on the left hand. And same with saxophone, because generally with saxophone, your left hand, you just don't have that fluidity. Sorry, Lily, my dog's taking a pee. You don't have that fluidity as you do with your right hand, because your right hand is basically, from the C up to the G, whereas this is sort of the G up to the C. So a little exercise that I can show you from getting from G up to the C, and just being able to do it, and just sit on the couch and do it for hours and hours and hours. And you know what? It's actually got me inspired to do it. And maybe this will be the kick in the pants to really try to get my playing back to the next level where it once was when I had a lot of gigs and was touring. So another issue, obviously, with saxophone, and you hear this a lot, is how do you play the B flat? Well, you got the B flat. It's good, and you can either play it with 1 and 1, so one finger on your left hand and one on your right. You can play the bis key over the B flat, but that's kind of clumsy. Unless you're in a key that has lots of flats, then it's quite a good way to do it. And the other way is doing 1 and 2 and then the side key. And Benny Goodman, he played that tune. I think it's called "I'm in the Mood for Swing." And he plays that lick at the end, which is really difficult in the key of A flat. So that's B flat on the clarinet. Bo-dee-doo-dee-doo-dee-doo-dat. And it's going right up doing the arpeggio run over the B flat on the instrument. So he must have played 1 and 1 fingering, because there's no way that he would have been able to do it as quick on the clarinet with 1 and 2 in the side key. So and on the clarinet, as you know, guys, it doesn't have a bis key. So I'm just rambling here, I just want to get to know you all out there, guys, and I just thought I'd just walk the dogs here and just talk to you, and so you can actually just put a face to to ProJazzTips, to Simon, and this is very, very cool. And I'm really excited, but I don't know where to go from here, guys. So I just need your guidance. So if you're watching this after the fact, please leave a comment just to give me an idea of content that you're interested in. Okay, somebody started following me. Good, right on. Oh, what a pretty dog. Hello. Hello. My dogs are terrorists sometimes. So, oh, here we go. We've got some candies. Somebody's got their little candy canes out. There's Lily. G'day, Lily. How you doing, honey? You're nearly ready to go to the groomers, aren't you? So the candy canes are out. And here's our little boy from Mexico. This is Pablo. He's a good dude. And this time of the year, the big truck comes around and starts sucking up the leaves. Hello, we've got 3 people watching. How's everybody going? I'm Simon, and welcome to my channel, ProJazzTips. I am so glad you're here. And I just thought I'd be out here walking the dogs and give you a little introductory live stream of who I am so you can put a face to the name. I'm the crazy dude, the crazy Aussie here, lost in Canada. And you'll probably ask, well, why I'm in Canada. It's my beautiful wife, who actually is a world-class drummer. She plays drums in the Vancouver Opera Orchestra. She's also a percussionist. She's playing in a medieval, winter Christmas medieval ensemble that does a lot of touring around BC this time of the year. So she's away, but I met my wife on stage at a jam session, and I have actually another YouTube channel. I have a ham radio. Yeah, I'm one of those geeky ham radio guys, like my buddy Chris, Digital Analog Ham. I'm playing tonight by Tchaikovsky Symphony No. 6. Hey, how you doing, mate? That's great. Fantastic, Tchaik. I love Tchaik. So tell us, okay, is that, hang on, I'm trying to see who this is. Is that you, Gordon? The messages tend to disappear. Just trying to work out how I can, Tchaik, I love Tchaikovsky, beautiful. But I met my wife actually on stage and my buddy who is a jazz musician, his name is Doug Rhodes. He's also a ham radio geek like me. He was on the bandstand. Hey, oh it is, it's Gordon. G'day, Gordon. How you doing, buddy? How you doing, mate? Good to see you. Hey, Gordon. Oh, this is, scroll up so you can see the messages. Oh, look at this. Hey, Gordon, how you going? Gordon, you got to meet my buddy Chris. So Gordon's in the UK as well, Chris, and he's in the Discord as well. And he's a real trumpet player. So fabulous, Gordon. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for finding my channel, buddy. And maybe I'd love to collaborate with your channel and mine. We can compare notes and talk about the wonderful thing called trumpet and music as a whole. And also, mate, I'd love to talk to you about how you get around the issue with copyright. I guess with classical music, because you're playing music that's pretty much older than 100 years since it was written, there's not the issue of copyright. And I know music that's 100 years old is considered public domain, but soon some of the composers like, who was it? Gershwin. So George Gershwin wrote a lot of tunes with his brother Ira, and Ira died really early, and George lived a long time, or vice versa. Same with, it wasn't Irving Berlin, but I know when there was 2 composers, the second composer, once the first composer dies, the tune is not public domain if the other composer is still alive. And then basically, I think it's 50 years after the death of the second composer. But anyway, I'm curious how I go about this, Gordon, because I would like to start streaming, playing some tunes, and I'm wondering if it's just I guess it's just if you start playing, the Beatles, the original recording of the Beatles, then that's going to flag a copyright. So, I'm curious about that, mate, and it's very, very exciting. And I know I think you're a Dennis Wick guy. I think you use Dennis Wick mouthpieces. How do you find those, mate? Got got to go, dinner time, then run out to orchestra. All right, Gordon, thanks for dropping in, mate. I really appreciate it, buddy. And as I say to my wife, mate, have a great gig tonight and no solos. Ha! You know what I mean? Solos being in the sense that you play at the wrong place, right, of course. For non-musos watching this. Hello, Pabs. What's going on, boy? Come on. Hey, buddy. Anyway, what was I saying? So, gee, I'm just rambling, but this is really fun. I'm really enjoying this, guys. Music. Let me see. Yeah, so there's a trumpet. Actually, if you're still there, Gordon, I now use wedge mouthpieces. The guy is Dr. Dave. He's in Gabriola Island, which is in British Columbia. He's great. His mouthpieces, they're one of those little teardrop patterns, if you will, or they're concave on the side of the mouth, if you know what I mean. So you turn them, and I might actually speak to Dr. Dave. If Dr. Dave, if you ever watch this video, mate, I'd love to hit you up for try some different mouthpieces and help you promote your wonderful mouthpieces. And this guy Wedge Mouthpieces, he's a medical doctor, and he's got an absolute love affair and a passion for trumpet. And what's interesting is he always found it interesting that trumpet players would always have the same struggles. You know, we play with too much pressure, and we play with bad teeth and this and that. But what's really interesting is that he guarantees that his mouthpiece will improve your playing by 10%. 10% is huge. For trumpet players, that's huge. To know that, no, sorry, what did he say? It will increase your endurance and your range by 10%. I thought, oh yeah, this is a bit of hogwash. I don't believe it. So Dave sent me a sample, and he said, if you like it, just buy it. And I love that about the music industry. There's a lot of trust with guys, especially another guy I want to do a huge shout out to is my friend Sandro Masulo Music in Burnaby, Vancouver. He gives me stuff all the time, and if I like it, just send him some money. So I love that trust. That speaks volumes. It's a wonderful industry for that. But what's interesting about the Wedge mouthpiece is it actually does. He said it'll increase your endurance and your range by 10%. And believe it or not, Gordon, it actually did. Okay, nobody is watching right now, and I don't know if it's because the stream has gone bad, because I'm in a bit of a gully. But I'm going to put it on the doggies here for a minute. There we go. Look at this, guys. Beautiful morning. Beautiful morning here. You know what, guys? I think I'm going to end this stream now. But anyway, anybody that's watching this after the fact, hello, I'm Simon, and I'm a trumpet player slash saxophone player, and I really welcome you to my channel. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come and check out this video, and also hit like and subscribe. I see that there's a lot of interest in that mode demonstration I did. That absolutely blew my mind. And when you realize that every pattern is unique on the piano, you know what I mean? So the whole thing with modes. Anyway, so go and check out that video. It's very wild that it's had several thousand views. And when I discovered it, there was a guy who did a video on using the pencil on the paper to pinpoint the middle of the white notes, and that's movable. So basically you're able to move any chord pattern that you want to any key. And to be able to do it with modes absolutely has changed my life. I can't believe it. And I'm not a modes guy per se. I like to know what they are. And if I listen to Celtic music, I know that they use the Mixolydian, which is the flat 7 of the scale. If you're listening to you're listening to Gregorian chant music, which is a lot of that medieval music, they use the flat 3 and the flat 7, which is the Dorian mode. The jazz mode is the one that I like is the Lydian, which is I think it's the Lydian. That's the sharp 4, but it's not the flat 5, which it's actually the same thing, but they call it because it's a raised 4th. They call it a sharp 4. So that's a great chord. The other one, or great scale. The other one that's quite handy in jazz is the flat 2, the flat 5, and the flat 6. It's almost like a whole tone. So anyway, lots of stuff to talk about. And let me know. I'm just going to quickly... Oh, yeah, I've got to put my finger on the screen, right, Chris? There we go, to see if there's any more chat. No? Oh, there we go. Okay. So, guys, g'day. All right, what else do we want to talk about? Oh, yeah, so my wife, she's a professional percussionist. Love her dearly, and my buddy, my ham radio buddy Doug, VE7DFZ, he was on stage the night that I met Laurie, and it was love at first sight, so it was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, anyway, so she's off touring, and it's just really funny that, yeah, I've been here for, wow, 25 years now. 25 years, and I think I still sound kind of Aussie, and I got some big trucks down here that are going to make some noise. But I think I was going to end this stream, wasn't I? All right, everybody, I think I will. I'm just wanted to say g'day. And but you know what? If there's 2 watching, I need watch time. I'll just keep it going. So if you all disappear, I get the message that's the big boot up the backside. Go and turn your stream off. But if you've got any other questions, everybody, and if you're into wild and wacky stuff like ham radio and crazy weather, my other channel is called Ham Jazz, and my buddy in the chat there, Chris, Digital Analog Ham Radio. Go and check out Chris's channel. He's fantastic. He's my brother from a different mother. Yeah. Okay. You know what, guys? I think it's going to get a bit noisy here. All right, everybody. I'm going to end this stream. I just wanted to try it out, see if it worked, and I wish everybody a fantastic day. Thanks again, everybody, for swinging by and hitting like and subscribe onto my channel. I really appreciate it. Lots and lots of content coming up, and I'm very, very excited. And just let me know in comments, please, if you've got some ideas of what you'd like to see from a multi-instrumentalist, if you want some lessons on, or some tips, not lessons per se, but tips on how to play the trumpet, some exercises, some chordal stuff, if you're more interested in harmonic stuff, learning how to play jazz. I'd love to know, and we can use that as a guide, as a starting point, and let's learn together, guys, because that's the thing that I'm excited about. All right, everybody, I'm going to end this stream. Have a great day, and we'll catch you later.